Hello, welcome to Lazada Insider, featuring knowledge that makes a difference. We share trusted insights, forward-looking perspectives, and exclusive expert interviews to keep you ahead of the curve.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Lazada Insider. My name is Yungsi, and I'll be your host once again for today. Before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you will not miss any future content. Now, today, we collectively face the pressing challenges of sustainability, and it has become increasingly evident that we need more collaborative efforts and a sense of community to make progress towards a more sustainable future. This is especially relevant to our SMEs who may face the challenges of resource limitations to tackle sustainability issues on their own. Joining us today once again are our panels of experts from PALO IT and susGain, and they will be sharing with us more about collaborations and communities in sustainability. Caroline, Paul, great to have you back with us today. For the benefit of our audience out there, could you please share more about yourselves and what you do? Perhaps we can start with Paul first.
Hi, pleasure to be back. So I'm Paul Blackler. I work for PALO IT. We are a global innovation transformation consultancy and agile software development company. So we specialize in supporting organizations in their transition and transformation into the future, whether that's technology, leadership, ways of working, and the sustainability transition. I'm a sustainability and innovation lead, so focused on driving our internal sustainability offering, how we have more impact, coaching and consulting our clients on this transition, and connecting with community and ecosystem externally is a really important part of that.
Nice. Hi, everyone. I'm Caroline, and I'm the founder of susGain. Also really happy to be back here. susGain is a B Corp certified social enterprise, and we are working essentially on driving sustainable behavior change. How do we do this? Through our susGain app, which is a gamified rewards app that helps you to practice more eco and socially conscious lifestyle habits. And also we work with corporates and schools to support their green efforts and at the same time measure the impact created.
Yeah, thank you both for introduction. So very quickly to Caroline, in 2022, you actually founded susGain. You have been a Singapore-based community builders to connect eco and socially conscious stakeholders in a way that it creates mutual value. So since then, I think you have been very active in facilitating numerous talks, workshops, panel discussions on how to create employee engagement and even drive sustainable behavioral change in organizations. So tell us more about your inspiration behind the development of the idea.
Sure. So, well, where to start, I guess. If you're a little bit like me, you probably plan to go to the gym in the morning, but then you just hit the snooze button and sleep in. Or you say, I want to have a sugar-free day today, but then you really can't resist that piece of chocolate in the afternoon. So we all face this challenge that what we want to do and what we actually do is not the same. And so this is what we call the intention-action gap. And so when trying to become more sustainable, I also face this dilemma all the time, right? What can I do with my old clothes? Or where can I find more sustainable products? How can I stick to what I've committed to? And that's essentially what motivated me to create susGain, a tool that helps me to make my sustainable lifestyle choices more accessible, more fun, and more rewarding, so that I can follow through with my good intentions and then also create positive impact. So essentially, the journey started with a need that I faced myself, and talking to other people, I realized that this is like a common challenge that we all face. So essentially, then the app helps you to nudges you to take certain micro tasks, such as maybe uploading a picture of an item that you're recycling, walking more, having a plant-based meal, bringing your own reusables, and then through the app, you basically get a positive encouragement by earning points for doing the right thing. Sometimes our users will also say it's almost like a Pokemon experience, whereby you complete many different micro tasks throughout the day, and then essentially get rewarded with different types of incentives and messages, and that makes makes it easier for you to get started on your journey, essentially.
Thanks, Caroline. I think we can definitely relate to the personal challenges in adopting something new, and definitely can feel your drive and passion in advocating sustainability, especially in a fun way. So now in the previous episode, we have discussed about sustainable transformation. So what do the both of you think about collaboration and community that can be important to our SMEs that are trying to transit into a more sustainable business model? Perhaps Paul, you can start off with this.
Yeah, so why collaborate? I mean, it's such a big and important subject. You know, it's the criticality that's really driving the collaboration as well, in terms of carbon. You know, reducing carbon and getting below or close to 1.5 is a major driver at the moment. It's a huge international challenge. You see countries for the first time signing up to multilateral agreements. You know, 196 countries, I think, for the Paris Agreement. You know, that's driven some of this. So collaboration is really important. These are global issues. These are big issues, complex issues. Nobody has all of the answers or the solution. I think it also requires interconnectivity between stakeholders. So even on a local level, the goods that we're buying from, their source, their origin, how some of those materials are extracted and refined and used, all the way up to end of life, where our products end up in the marketplace, the responsibility, the increasing responsibility we have around that, their end of life, the recyclability, reducing them going into waste. So collaboration, I think, is important there for greater connectivity and learning. I think the subject can also be quite anxiety inducing. We talked about that a little bit on the last session. And so building confidence, learning from others, not reinventing the wheel, having that burden, getting the energy and the excitement when we're able to move forward as a community. Pick other solutions that might, be working elsewhere, tailor them for our own context. I think these are all really important aspects. There are patterns that are already working, and then there are new patterns that we need to kind of discover collectively. So community and collaboration is a great tool, sometimes often underutilized, I think, and to meet some of the big challenges of our time.
Yeah, I can only echo what Paul is saying here. So many of the challenges that we are facing are fairly similar, and I think there's a lot of power if we can come together and discuss some of these issues peer to peer. Because to give you an example, one of our partners is a clean beauty brand, and they implemented a system to sell their products in glass containers, and then got the customers to return them for reuse. And then we happened to speak to another brand which was actually trying to do the same thing, but it turned out that they had some issues about the sterilization process of these glass containers, because that's an important part of this whole thing to work, right? And so because of that issue, they were stuck and they didn't know how to move this initiative forward. And so we managed to connect the two brands and just got them to share, like experience and exchange. And so this is just an example of how very small connections can bring win-wins, right? And ultimately, it's really about like having that openness to share and to embrace, that there's, competitors which can essentially, but at the same time also be your allies to drive forward and to create change in the end.
And Caroline mentioned at the beginning, both susGain and PALO IT are B Corp certified companies. So one of the benefits, yes, it's a certification and an assessment framework that, helps you to be accountable and gives you some ideas, but it really is a community of businesses that share the same values and principles around business for good, social, environmental contributions. And coming together in these type of communities can be extremely powerful.
Thanks both of you. The next question I have is actually for Paul. Paul, will you be able to share with us some typical formats of collaborations that you have observed or even recommend to our SMEs?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I guess this is one area of PALO IT's core business. Specialism is around facilitating and bringing different stakeholders together to better collaborate and work, whether that's internally, building community within the organization, breaking down silos, finding those interested early adopters that can come together, share patterns, grow and learn, and bring other people into that journey. So we operate a lot around communities within organizations, but then also, of course, externally as well, learning across industry, collaborating. That could be from webinars, it could be from panel discussions, it could be from creating forums. So various different formats that can take place. The sessions themselves can be different as well in terms of panel experts speaking on a panel. It could be leveraging hackathon or open space technology, where actually we're looking to crowdsource the wisdom of the crowd, facilitate that in empowering ways to create more idea generation and give agency and empowerment to more diverse contributions. So I think those are powerful areas. We also see collaboration in terms of maybe business chambers or councils, so actually coming together in those niche areas, and you don't have to be from a particular nationality even to join a chamber. So anybody can join the British Chamber of Commerce, and benefit from that type of community. But there are other councils and forums, like the Singapore's National Sustainability Forum for Procurement, another really interesting area. So these are companies coming together across industry, across multiple industries often, to share and learn and build best practice, build policy, to be able to then take that back into their organization and deliver it effectively.
Yeah. So then to the both of you, could you let us know, share about how PALO and susGain are actually collaborating on a community?
Sure. Actually, we identified that many of the corporates we work with face very similar challenges when it comes to implementing sustainable solutions in their company. And I guess both PALO IT and susGain are in this interesting situation that we gonna speak to a lot of them, and we hear a lot of these problem statements that they are facing. Something like, how do we boost the engagement of our employees? How do we get the key stakeholders on board, and how do we get their buy-in? Or how do we measure the impact that we are creating, right? And so as these kind of themes kept coming up over and over again, we decided to team up with like-minded partners like PALO IT and the Green Collective to put together an event which we call Beyond the Scopes, which is essentially a peer-to-peer quarterly workshop and networking session where we discuss together strategies to drive sustainability engagement in our organizations. And the objective is really just to I'd say leave our maybe titles or corporate backgrounds a little bit aside and really come together on an individual level, and to be open to not only discuss the success stories and the things that are maybe working very well, but also to be comfortable enough to share maybe some of the challenges or some of the things that we tried that didn't work, because I think there's a lot of learning in that. And if we can create that kind of trusted setting amongst peers to bring this out, we can accelerate the learning process quite a bit.
I think, just, adding to that, it's around also, expanding your horizons, expanding your thinking, expanding the options that are available to you. And I think you made a really good point before around sometimes, we're so busy within the business, we're working in the business, day to day, and it can be really beneficial to step outside of the business, start working on the business and not just in the business, think more holistically, get fresh ideas and input. And so that's where we've seen a lot of value in the community groups that Carolin is running. And I think it goes even broader to that. So earlier in the week, PALO IT hosted an event by Matcha Initiative, which Carolin and susGain was also on the panel for. So you start then connecting and cross-pollinating across communities and breaking down some of the additional silos and finding, expanding your network, and giving great hope and optimism to what is quite a difficult and challenging subject.
Yeah, I can completely agree. I think these kind of sessions also really give a lot of emotional support, because running, like sustainability initiatives in your organization sometimes can be challenging. It's not always everything going smooth, and getting that extra boost of confidence that this is normal, this is just how long it takes, this is just like the roadblocks we might all face, is really helpful. Because I always advocate for don't give up, see this as a long-term journey that you're on, and keep working on it, even if the progress is very small. But it's important to follow through, right?
Great, thank you. Carolin, you brought up an interesting point over there about openness, open communication, mutual trust. So could you, further advise our SMEs who want to collaborate effectively Especially, how do they overcome the concerns about potential competitions and even conflicting interests amongst companies?
Well, so in my point of view, collaboration is always key. And the way I see it, at least, is maybe a bit idealistic, but the way I see it is that the fight is really against the enemy here is climate change, right? And we have that common challenge that we are facing. And so it's really not the competition against each other, but the competition against how can we faster mitigate the effects of what's happening to our planet, right? And so I believe there's always some potential common ground that you can find, and that's always a good starting point to try to identify where like there were synergies between different organizations and where there's learning potential. And I think also sometimes just taking or like making the first step. I've seen so many times that we assume that somebody is in a similar industry like we are, and that we assume that a person is not open to exchange or to share. And then in the end, it turns out that we actually are very aligned with our values, and there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And so I think I really encourage everybody to maybe sometimes step out of the comfort zone, to reach out to somebody who is in the same space, to like just see where there's collaboration potential, and to get started.
I think this is a great area where we say, sustainability and the complex, important challenges we face really do require a different level of thinking. Traditional thinking has been about competitiveness, to win and to survive, and we get our elbows out. But actually, it's bringing it back slightly more to that saying that the rising tide raises all boats. And actually, there's a lot of commercial value in collaboration, and even across industry, we can improve. And even through to modern movements like open space, big in the technology, where we actually put a lot of our IP freely to the marketplace. A lot of research shows actually this is of commercial value back to the organization. So it's not a loss in terms of sharing some vulnerabilities, sharing some IP, sharing some of the patterns. You actually gain a lot more out of it in the long run.
And finally, to Paul, what are some resources that SMEs can look for to collaborate with like-minded companies like yourself?
Okay, so we're probably talking a few areas here around building awareness, and updating and changing your thinking and connecting with community. And we're also talking about trying to bridge that gap to action. So I think there's a few different resources across these spaces. There's increasingly learning available online, like United Nations publishing learning modules, these MOOCs, these online learning modules. So, and many of these are free. I would say, for additional expert support, there are, of course, companies and coaching and consultancy, and then there are the application like susGain, which can really incentivize and drive behavioral change. So there's more and more of these kind of options and solutions coming. I mentioned earlier the Matcha initiative, so both Carolin and I work closely with community around the Matcha initiative. They've got a lot of great resources online. They also are hosting and running events. PALO IT, we're frequently hosting community events, either that we're running or that we're hosting within our office space. So for those type of initiatives, you can go online to somewhere like Eventbrite or meetups.com and actually register and follow an organization that you see is hosting and running these events, and kind of track the calendar and select which ones are of interest to you. So that's a great way to plug into community. I'd also say, in terms of connectivity and community, LinkedIn is quite a good place professionally. Follow thought leaders, follow leading organizations. A lot of social media now is around sharing thought leadership. So actually a lot of people do the work for you. They go through the scientific reports, they go through the learning modules, distill some of the learning. So that can be a quick way. I don't know, Carolin, if you'd have any other resources to add in.
I think these are all really, really great tips. I think it's really about, again, trying to plug into one community, and oftentimes it leads from one to another. And so, for me, for example, I ended up being part of a lot of different WhatsApp groups as well, which are all on different sustainability subject matters. And it's really just a wonderful support system to know, if you have a specific question, you can just post your question out there, and then there's others who are happy to share and to help you. And so I think it's very valuable, that type of informal sharing as well.
I would say, we deliver climate for risk and digital collage workshops, to organizations, but we also offer them generally free to the public as well. So you could try one of those within your region, and this is a global movement, and then see how best you take something like that back to the organization to raise awareness and bring some vigor and aspiration around these subjects.
So thank you once again to the both of you. I think today we can all agree that collaborations and communities are essential components of achieving sustainability goals. One of the benefits of collaborations is definitely they can bring together diverse perspectives and expertise, like the panels we have today, Paul and Caroline, to lead to more innovative solutions to sustainability challenges. Communities, on the other hand, can be powerful drivers for change, advocating a sense of shared responsibility and accountability, and even inspire individuals to take actions towards sustainability. I think by working together towards a shared vision, I'm sure we can create a more sustainable future for our businesses and definitely for the future generations. We have come to the end of the discussion. Really appreciate Caroline and Paul for taking time off your busy schedules to share your insights with us. For the audience who are interested to learn more, please feel free to check out the websites of PALO IT and susGain, and even connect directly with Paul and Caroline. I'm sure they are happy to share with you more. Once again, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next one.
This is Lazada Insider. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click follow and subscribe so you don't miss our latest insights and expert interviews. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, take care.